4 expert investigators are by the shores of Lake Michigan, where multiple UFOs have been sighted.
Wow, all of you.
Local witness Patty Donahue was entranced by her UFO encounter.
I'm feeling this peace that I've never felt before.
But her daughter Jennifer had a very different reaction.
I was covering my ears, screaming.
Now, aeronautics engineer Mike Barra is examining photographs that Patty took of a triangular UFO.
It's a bit weird. What's interesting about that is that the foreground's not blurry, which means the object is definitely farther away, and it's moving fairly rapidly, and it's not because of the movement of the camera. I have an idea what those triangular shapes might be. There is an object called a Chinese lantern, which is basically a lantern that floats through the air that can, under certain conditions, be mistaken for a UFO. And if you're willing to cooperate with us, I'd like to test it out a little bit later.
Early the next morning, Stephen and Daryl call on Patty.
I'm ready to go.
Okay. Young lady, come on, come on. Okay.
Ex-CIA operative Daryl Sims wants to examine the location and find out if the UFO left any evidence behind when it passed over the house.
I need to know, is this the exact spot you were standing where it was closest to you, above you? Is this the area?
It's close, yes.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do some testing. I want to check this area, and I'm going to go through this whole area and see if I can find something.
Okay, sounds good.
Daryl uses a Geiger counter to detect levels of radiation that are higher than normal. He believes that UFOs become radioactive when they are in space, and that they leave traces where they come into close contact with the Earth.
Normal background radiation will be just a click, click, click. But boy, when that radiation hits, you'll hear click, 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 click. That's interesting. Not normal. What I'm testing for is residual radiation, and I'm finding a radioactive trace here. It's interesting that this is the spot that she points out where the UFO came over is closest to her. Wow. Okay. Interesting. I found 3 traces of radiation, one where you were standing, and one of them at the edge of the house out here about where you pointed. And it's in line with those 2 trees up there and this one. And it seems to be leading that direction. When it disappeared, where was it in that tree line?
See where the long blue break in the clouds is with the blue sky? I'd say about there.
Patty saw the UFO coming from the direction of Lake Michigan, and then disappear into the trees behind her house. Daryl is developing a theory about where the UFO could be hiding.
If I were going to hide in a UFO and I didn't want anybody to see me after I made myself completely known to the world in the air, but I wanted to get out of Dodge and not let everybody know where I was at, I'd want to find a body of water to hide. UFOs seem to like water simply because it's a great place to park. Some people say it's space, but if you're already here, it's probably underwater.
So, Jenny, one thing that really stuck out to me when you and your mom were sharing your story is that you were terrified. I mean, why do you think that you guys had that different perspective?
I don't know, like, the way that she saw it, I feel like they were almost like, not manipulating, but like putting like an all good like image in her head, and I feel like, I don't know if it was really intended for me to see.
So you see this with your mother. What happened after that?
I just feel like that first sighting like really invited everything in to the house.
Maureen is uncovering evidence that the alien has not only flown over the house, but has invaded their home.
I started hearing things in my room, and just one night felt like something was right next to me, heard something, and there was just these like 2 big black eyes staring at me, staring down at me. They were like about that big.
Wow.
It was just staring at me.
It looks like my instincts about Jenny were dead on. While I can't prove that what she's seen are extraterrestrial beings, what I can say is she's clearly terrified. And this always seems to happen to her the same time that UFOs have been spotted over the house.
With the revelation that aliens may have actually invaded the house, Maureen calls an urgent meeting between the investigators and the family. She wants to know if Jennifer's sister Jessica has also witnessed any alien activity in their home.
Have you experienced anything, Jessica?
Yeah, I have. One night, I was gonna go to bed, so I came out of the bathroom, and I saw this small figure, maybe about like this tall, walk out of my sister's bedroom, and it stopped at the end of the hallway and kind of looked at me. And it was glowing, kind of, like it was producing its own light a little bit.
What did it look like?
It was hooded, like it was in a robe.
So could you see its face, or was the hood over its face?
The hood was over its face.
So you couldn't see its face at all?
No, but I knew it was watching me.
How did you feel at that moment?
It scared me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I ran into my room, and I just laid in my bed, and then I saw something peek in around my doorway. And
same sort of height as the little
a little
person?
bit taller. It was a little bit taller.
So you don't think it was the same E.T. you saw a minute ago?
It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't robed or anything.
Ah, so you must have seen its face this time.
Yeah.
What did it look like?
It was just like the eyes were a little bigger than normal. Like nothing drastically big or anything though. It didn't have quite like a nose like we would. That was different about it. And he had 3 fingers, and it didn't have lips or anything.
But you felt it was looking at you?
Mm-hmm. It was looking at me.
Investigator Daryl Sims claims to have been abducted himself and immediately recognizes the type of alien that Jessica has seen.
What Jessica's describing as a small gray alien, they're the least intelligent of all the alien kind, and they can really be mean.
Daryl wants to see if there's any evidence of alien presence left in the girls' rooms.
This is my room.
Now, tell me very briefly where the entity was at and what happened in this room.
All right, so I was facing the door, and it just peeked in from right around the door frame, and then came right on in and then hid right over near where you're standing.
Okay. This is a special ultraviolet light that's used to detect the presence of an alien. The alien leaves a sweat-like material. Okay. Well, I don't see any evidence of him recently. And let me check over here next to your bed if you don't mind. What is that?
It's a baseball bat.
You felt like you needed something like that?
Well, after I saw that little figure in my room is when I really think I got it out.
You feel like this helps comfort you?
It just makes me feel safe when I have it by my bed.
It's good for you, at least in that respect.
Yeah.
Okay. Next time you see something in here, if you want to try to defend yourself, get a bigger bat. This is not much. But the fact is, in most cases, stuff like this is really not effective. Really. Believe it or not, the things that are effective against these entities are things that are mental. And think of something really funny, really interesting in your head, and just repeat it over and over and over and over to the point it's stupid and funny. And they'll short circuit. They can't figure out what you're doing. One of the ladies that I know is a full-grown woman, reached up, put her arm around the little guy. He was like, oh my gosh. She grabbed his eye cover and tore it off. That's the weirdest thing in the world, but it works all the time. It's real easy. Take my word for that.